17 July 1944, 04:37 hours. Lieutenant Frederick Fowles crouched in a drainage ditch 180 meters from American lines, Normandy interior, 42 days after jumping with 5 men and 200 burlap dolls. The German patrol was at 40 meters. You could hear the bolt of a Car 98K being drawn. Beside him, Corporal Jenkins held a broken TR, 1936 radio, silent for 11 days. They carried 3 Mills grenades, 47 rounds of .45 ACP, and 6 weeks of intelligence on the 352nd Infantry Division. The plan had been simple. The Americans would overrun their position in 9 days. Fowles carried hand-drawn maps showing 14 completed sabotage operations, 23 transmitted intelligence reports, 0 viable exfiltration routes. The German patrol stopped. One soldier bent down, lifted something from the ground. Green olive parachute fabric, British issue. The fabric Jenkins had used 3 days earlier to wrap a twisted ankle and discarded yesterday. The German sergeant turned toward the ditch. Fowles tightened his grip on the sten. If you want to know how 6 men armed with cloth dolls held an entire panzer division on the most important night of the war, hit the like button. The briefing room at RAF Fairford, 4th June 1944, 21:15 hours. Captain Frederick Fowles, 28 years old, 1 SAS B Squadron, received the operational order. Operation Titanic IV. Jump with 200 Ruperts near Mesnil-Vigot, 28 kilometers southwest of Utah Beach. Mission: simulate 82nd Airborne deployment in the wrong location. Estimated duration: 9 days until American forces overran the position. Armament: Sten Mark II 9mm, Webley .38 revolvers, Mills grenades, TR 1936 radio. Total stick weight 680 kilograms. 6 men plus equipment plus radio. The Sterling would carry 200 Ruperts in jute sacks. In the cargo hangar, Fowles inspected the paradummies. Height 90 centimeters, 3 feet. Material: hessian sackcloth filled with 4.5 kilograms of sand and straw. Parachute: basic 3.6 meter diameter canopy. Attached devices: Pintail rifle fire simulator, 90 seconds of burst fire on ground contact. Window packet, aluminium chaff for radar echo. Explosive charge, 110 grams, 120-second delay for self-destruction. A RAF sergeant watched Fowles weigh a Rupert in his hand. "Looks like a scarecrow my grandmother made, sir." Fowles held the 4.5 kilogram dummy. An actual German soldier weighed 70 kilograms. An American paratrooper with full kit, 125 kilograms. The Panzer Grenadier Division defending Mesnil-Vigot fielded 14,000 real men. Fowles would drop with 200 cloth dolls. The audio equipment sat crated beside the Ruperts. 2 modified HMV gramophone players, portable, weight 8.2 kilograms each with battery pack. Playback duration 45 minutes continuous. The discs were pre-recorded. Marching boots on gravel, 200 men shouted orders in English. "Move out! Secure that flank!" M1 Garand fire in controlled bursts, vehicle movement, engines grinding. SAS doctrine for Titanic. Fowles would split his stick after landing. Team A, Jenkins plus 2 men, operate gramophone north. Team B, Fowles plus 2 men, operate gramophone south. Separation distance 400 meters to create the illusion of a broad front. Operational time 15 to 20 minutes after Rupert deployment. Exfiltration: move east toward expected American advance. The problem was weight. The 8.2 kilogram gramophone plus the 14.5 kilogram TR 1936 radio meant each team carried 22.7 kilograms of non-combat equipment. SAS doctrine recommended a maximum of 35 kilograms per man on infiltration. Fowles calculated, if the Americans did not arrive in 9 days, every extra kilogram would be carried for every additional day. A flight lieutenant from 149 Squadron stood by the Sterling. "You're jumping with dolls?" Fowles explained the logic. Germans see parachutes. They fire signal flares. Entire regiments mobilize. The pilot frowned. "What if they realize they're dummies?" Fowles said the Pintail simulators fire for 90 seconds. The charges explode afterward. What remains is burnt sand and jute. The pilot persisted. "And you 6 stay on the ground making army noises?" Fowles nodded. "For 9 days. Then the Americans pass through." The pilot did not ask the obvious question. What if the Americans don't pass through in 9 days? Fowles had read the intelligence summaries on the 352nd Infantry Division. Concrete bunkers, 88mm guns, intact regiments. Utah Beach was 28 kilometers away. Omaha, 35 kilometers. 9 days was optimism. Fowles slung the Sten and boarded the Sterling. 5 June 1944, 23:52 hours, 8 minutes before midnight. Altitude 180 meters, 600 feet, standard cargo drop height. Airspeed 185 kilometers per hour. Sky, full moon after rain confirmed in meteorological logs. Visibility, good. The Norman bocage visible as silver patchwork under moonlight. The RAF crew began pushing Ruperts through the side door at 23:52. Rate approximately 15 dummies per minute. Last Rupert deployed at 00:05 on the 6th of June. Fowles and his stick jumped at 00:07. Freefall time 22 seconds. Landing bocage field, tall grass 2 to 1.5 meters high. Fowles rolled on impact, released the parachute, brought up the Sten, swept 360 degrees. Darkness, grass moving in the breeze. The sound of fabric tearing, other parachutes landing. Jenkins appeared at 15 meters, hand signal, 4 fingers. 4 men accounted for. Fowles waited 90 seconds. The 5th man did not appear. Stick of 6 reduced to 5 survivors at initial rally point. Standard attrition for night jumps at low altitude. Broken ankle or off-target landing, both common. 00:11 hours. First Pintail detonation at 240 meters north. The sound rat-tat-tat-tat, simulating M1 Garand automatic fire. Duration 8 seconds, pause, 6 seconds, pause, 5 seconds. At 00:12, a second simulator fired 180 meters west. Between 00:12 and 00:15, a cascade of Pintail devices ignited across approximately 1 square kilometer. From a distance, it sounded like a dispersed platoon opening fire. Fowles timed it. 90 seconds of simulated gunfire. After that, the charges would detonate. He had 90 seconds to position the gramophones before silence returned. 00:13 hours. Fowles divided the stick. Team A, Jenkins, Corporal Hewitt, Private Morrison. Displacement 400 meters north. Gramophone placed behind a stone fence. Disc loaded. Marching column plus vehicle movement. Team B, Fowles, Sergeant Davies, 1 private. Displacement 350 meters south. Gramophone positioned in a terrain depression. disc loaded, orders plus rifle fire. 0016 hours. Fowles cranked the gramophone handle. The turntable spun. Boots on gravel. 200 men marching. Volume set to maximum. The sound carried 800 meters on a calm night. Fowles looked east. The Mesnil-Vigot, 2.3 kilometers. Village lights. Darkness between them. Some German was listening. Some German was reaching for a field telephone. Some German was waking a company commander. 0018 hours. First self-destruct charge. Whump! Orange flash at 300 meters. Rupert destroyed. Burning sand and jute. Between 0018 and 0022, a cascade of explosions. 200 charges detonating across the drop zone, the field lit by intermittent flashes. 0031 hours, German reaction. First signal flare, green, launched from Le Mesnil-Vigot, pause of 40 seconds. 3 red flares, maximum alert. 2 white flares, illumination. Fowles glassed the village through 7x50 binoculars. Vehicle lights igniting. Movement on the road. Headlights covered with tarn nets, camouflage nets. Diesel engine sound. Opel Blitz trucks. Doctrinal assessment. Reconnaissance platoon deploying. 047 hours. Gramophones shut down. Actual playback time 31 minutes. 14 minutes short of design specification. Battery degradation or defect. Fowles ordered equipment recovery. Procedure: bury the gramophones. They could not risk capture. Burial time 8 minutes. 0103 hours. Germans reached the drop zone. Sounds in the distance, German voices, engines stopping. Fowles estimated 40 to 60 soldiers searching the field. Distance from Team B position 700 meters southwest, observation post. The Germans carried flashlights. They were searching for paratroopers. They would find burnt sand, charred jute, fragments of Pintail simulators, 200 craters where the Ruperts landed. It would take 20 minutes for a German officer to understand. Dummies. Another 10 minutes to report to command. Another 30 minutes for command to decide if this was total deception or partial deception. Fowles needed 60 minutes of confusion. He had achieved 31 minutes of audio, plus an estimated 40 minutes of German field investigation. Total 71 minutes. Sufficient. 0115 hours. Exfiltration. Fowles gathered the stick. 5 men, 28 kilometers to Utah Beach. 9 days until American forces arrived. They began moving east. 6 to 8 June 1944. First 3 days. Position: Woodland 4, 2 kilometers east of Le Mesnil-Vigot. SAS infiltration protocol: movement only during darkness, 1830 to 05 Andraka hours. Distance per night: 3 to 5 kilometers in difficult terrain with German patrols. Daytime rest: improvised shelters, radio silence. Rations: emergency biscuits, concentrated tea, D-bar chocolate. 8 June, 1400 hours. Problem. Fowles heard heavy artillery to the west. Utah Beach was to the east. The artillery was behind them. Meaning, the Americans had not advanced 28 kilometers in 3 days, probably still contained at the beachheads. Fowles recalculated. If the Americans advanced at 2 kilometers per day, slow rate in Norman bocage, 14 days until they overran the current position, Not 9 days, 14 days. Fowles carried rations for 10 days. 9 June, 0730 hours. Stick conference. Options. Option A. Immediate exfiltration. Move east, attempt to reach American lines. Risk crossing 20+ kilometers of active German territory. Estimated success probability 40%. Doctrinal SAS assessment. Option B. Wait as planned. Remain concealed until Americans overrun position. Risk. Rations exhausted in approximately 5 days. Problem. No certainty when Americans would arrive. Option C. Active operations. Remain in area, conduct sabotage. Objective. Delay German reinforcements to the beaches. Risk. Exposure increases capture probability. Benefit. Fulfill original mission. Force Germans to retain troops in this sector. Fowles said, "We jumped to make the Germans think an army was here. We succeeded. But if we just wait, they'll realize it was deception and reposition divisions to the beaches. If we keep acting, sabotage, intelligence gathering, they'll have to keep troops here to hunt us. Operation Titanic doesn't end when the Ruperts exploded. It ends when the Americans arrive. Or when we're killed." Vote. Unanimous. Active operations. 10 June, 23:45 hours. Target, German field telephone line. Reconnaissance identified a line pole 1.8 kilometers from Le Mesnil-Vigot. The line connected a command bunker to an artillery position. Guards, 2 sentries, patrol cycle every 90 minutes. Procedure. Jenkins plus Davies on security, positions 40 meters north and south. Fowles plus Hewitt as executors. Tool. Wire cutters from SAS kit. Time on target, 4 minutes. 23:51 hours. Fowles cut 3 copper wires. No explosion, no fire, just cuts. The German command would have dead telephone by morning. It would take 6 to 8 hours to locate the break in 4 kilometers of line. Another 2 to 3 hours to repair. Total, 1 day of interrupted communications. Small impact, but if repeated every 3 days, cumulative. Exfiltration, 004 hours, no enemy contact. Sabotage log, inferred from MC citation mentioning sabotage of electrical and communication installations, 11 to 22nd of June. Sabotage number 2, secondary electrical transformer, 200 grams of plastic explosive. Sabotage number 3, telephone cable, cut. Intelligence report number 1, observation of convoy, 12 Opel Blitz trucks moving west. Sabotage number 4, fuel depot, 5 200-litre drums, incendiary. Intelligence report number 2, unit identification, 352nd Infantry Division, confirmed in sector. Sabotage number 5, secondary wooden bridge, explosive, rendered unusable. Intelligence report number 3, Panzer column observed, 8 vehicles, probably 21st Panzer. Sabotage number 6, secondary rail line, rail cut with demolition charge. Problem, rations exhausted. 19 June, stick dependent on foraging. Forage sources, eggs from isolated farms, nocturnal acquisition. Potatoes and vegetables from fields. Water from streams, purified with halazone tablets. Risk increased. Each sabotage heightened German awareness of commandos in area. Fowles identified pattern. German patrols increased from 2 per day on 10 June to 5 per day on 22nd of June. The Germans were hunting. 6 July, 08:15 hours, logistical disaster. Context, TR, 1936 radio was sole communication link with Allied command. During night movement, Davies tripped on wire fence, fall of 1.2 meters with 14.5 kilogram radio on his back. Impact shattered thermionic valve number 3. Result, transmission impossible. Fowles attempted repair, disassembled the radio. The 3AT valve was irreplaceable without spare parts. He improvised, reconnected circuitry bypassing the broken valve. Outcome, receiver functional, they could monitor Allied transmissions. Transmitter dead, they could not send. Fowles tuned to BBC on 42.8 MHz. News, American troops capture Carentan. Carentan was 18 kilometers northeast. The Americans were advancing, but not toward Fowles. They were moving north toward Cherbourg, not west toward Le Mesnil-Vigot and Saint-Lô. Conclusion, stick isolated without communications. Americans would not arrive for days, possibly weeks. Decision, continue operations until attempting breakout to Allied lines. 8 to 12 July, intensified German patrols, evidence of active hunt, posters in German and French on telegraph poles, reward for information on saboteurs. German patrols with dogs observed twice. FA-223 Drach observation helicopter, 1 sighting, 10 July. SAS countermeasures, daytime movement suspended, too dangerous. Temporary shelters changed every 24 hours, never sleep in the same location. Security distance increased 6 kilometers from last sabotage sites. Foraging reduced to minimize civilian contact risk. 13 July, 23:40 hours. First enemy contact. Location, woodland 3 kilometers from Saint-Lô. Stick in night movement. German patrol, 6 soldiers at 80 meters. Fowles ordered total immobility. German patrol passed without detection. Post-contact analysis. 6 German soldiers dedicated to hunting 5 SAS commandos. 1-to-1 ratio inefficient for Germans. But if there were 6 simultaneous patrols, battalion standard, that meant 36 soldiers hunting 5 men. And if an entire battalion was dedicated to the hunt, the MC citation was correct, approximately 1 division diverted. Not to fight at the beach, to hunt ghosts. 15 July, 0600 hours, Stick Conference. Situation assessment. 40 days since jump, planned duration 9 days. Rations, 0 for 26 days. Remaining ammunition, Sten, 94 rounds 9mm. Webley, 47 rounds, top 38. Mills grenades, 3. Health status. All men with weight loss, 8 to 12 kilograms estimated. Davies showing dysentery symptoms. Radio, still broken. Intelligence gathered. 23 reports not transmitted, documented on paper. Decision. Fowles said, "We've completed the mission. Germans kept troops here hunting us while the Americans took Carentan and advanced north. But we can't conduct more sabotage without adequate ammunition, and Davies needs medical treatment. We go east. We'll try to reach American lines. 15 kilometers to sector BBC reported as contested. 3 nights of movement. Objective. Cross no man's land. Reach American positions near La Méoff. Night 1, 15 to 16 July. Movement 6. 2 kilometers east. Terrain, bocage, hedgerows 2 to 3 meters high, restricts visibility. Incidents, 2 German patrols spotted, avoided. Night 2, 16 to 17 July. Movement 5, 8 kilometers. Artillery sounds increasing, sign of combat zone proximity. Davies' condition worsening, fever, weakness. Night 3, 17 July, 0300 hours. Movement 3 kilometers, reduced pace due to Davies. 0415 hours, Fowles identified American positions approximately 2 kilometers distant, red traces from .30-06 caliber weapons. Decision: wait for dawn before crossing final gap to avoid friendly fire. 0430 hours, holding position. Fowles selected a drainage ditch 180 meters from the last fence before no man's land. Ditch depth 1.2 meters, provides cover. Plan: at dawn, approximately 0600 hours, advance with hands raised, identify in English. Davies lay in the ditch bottom, shaking. Jenkins checked the broken radio one final time. Nothing. Hewitt counted ammunition, 47 rounds of top 45 ACP, 3 Mills grenades. 0437 hours, Fowles heard boots. German. The patrol was at 40 meters. Situation: German patrol, 8 soldiers, estimated by footfall sounds. Distance, 40 meters. Closing. SAS stick in ditch, 5 men, no escape route. American lines, 180 meters east, unreachable, without detection. 0438 hours, Germans stopped. Fowles heard German words. He did not understand the language, but the tone was unmistakable. A soldier had found something. Fowles risked looking above the ditch rim. A German soldier held a piece of fabric, olive green, British parachute material. The fabric Jenkins had used to bandage a twisted ankle 3 days prior and discarded yesterday. Fatal error. The German soldier showed the fabric to his sergeant. The sergeant pointed at the ditch. 0439 hours. Impossible decision. Option A: open fire first. Advantage: surprise. Disadvantage: 8 Germans versus 5 exhausted, wounded SAS. Sound would attract more patrols. 0 chance of reaching American lines. Option B: surrender. Advantage: possible survival as POWs. Disadvantage: 23 intelligence reports would be captured by Germans. Option C: wait and hope the Germans might pass the ditch without investigating. Unlikely. Fowles chose prepare for option A, but wait until the last second. 0440 hours. Germans advanced. German tactical movement. Sergeant divided patrol, 4 men flanking south, 4 north. Standard Wehrmacht doctrine for clearing suspected positions. Distance, 20 meters. Fowles whispered, "On my signal, 3 grenades." 0441 hours. Unexpected detonation, not from Fowles, from behind the German patrol. Enormous explosion. 81mm mortar. Then another. Then 4 more. American barrage. The Germans threw themselves down. Wang ran toward the ditch. 15 meters. 10 meters. Fowles raised the Sten. Did not fire. The German soldier jumped into the ditch seeking cover. He landed 2 meters from Jenkins. The German turned his head. Saw 5 men in British uniforms. His eyes widened. 0442 hours. Chaos. Jenkins struck the German with the Sten buttstock. The soldier fell. Fowles heard shouts in German above the ditch. More mortars exploding. 30 meters, 40 meters. Walking barrage. The Americans were advancing. Fowles climbed to the ditch rim, saw 5 German soldiers running west, fleeing the mortars. 2 soldiers still on the ground, wounded. One turned, saw Fowles, raised his Kar 98K. Fowles fired the Sten. 3 rounds. The German fell. Sounds of more Germans arriving from the west, voices shouting, vehicle engines. 0443 hours. New problem. The Americans thought Fowles was German. He was in no man's land, firing east. 30 caliber tracers passed 1 meter above the ditch. Fowles shouted, "Friendlies! British SAS! Don't shoot!" Impossible to be heard over mortars. 4:44 hours. German counterattack. Vehicle approaching. Probably SD KFZ 251 half-track. MG-42 machine gun opened fire toward the general vicinity of the ditch. Rate 1,200 rounds per minute, 20 rounds per second. Dirt exploding around the ditch. Fowles made a decision. Grenades, now! 3 mils. Hewitt through the first, 4-second fuse. Whomp! Second. Third. Half-track stopped. MG-42 silenced. 4:46 hours. Last resistance. Situation deteriorated. Sten ammunition approximately 20 rounds remaining. Germans reorganizing at 60 meters. Americans still firing, unaware Fowles was allied. 4:47 hours. German infantry advanced. 12 to 15 soldiers in skirmish line, 40 meters from ditch. Fowles fired last Sten rounds. 2 Germans fell. Sten jammed. Magazine empty. 4:48 hours. German grenades. Fowles saw 3 German soldiers prepare Stielhandgranate, stick grenades. They threw. Fowles shouted, "Down!" 5 men flattened in the 1-2 meter ditch bottom. Crump, crump, crump. Explosions above the ditch. Shrapnel passed overhead. But the 4th grenade fell inside the ditch, 3 meters from Fowles. 4 seconds to detonation. Fowles could not reach it to throw out. Jenkins tried, could not reach. 4:48:04 hours. Detonation. The grenade exploded inside the ditch. All 5 men wounded. Fowles, shrapnel in left arm and thigh. Jenkins, shrapnel in back. Davies, already unconscious from fever, now with fragments in legs. Hewitt, facial wound. 5th man, severe abdominal wound. 4:50 hours. German soldiers appeared at the ditch rim, rifles pointed down. Fowles raised his right hand. Blood ran from his left arm. A German sergeant shouted, "Hände hoch!" Fowles understood. Hands up. The 42-day war of Frederick Fowles ended 180 meters from American lines. 17 July to 27th of April 1945. Prisoner of war. Medical treatment at German field hospital. Transfer to Stalag, location unspecified in available documentation. Davies died of infection 8 days after capture, inferred combination of dysentery and wounds. 4th stick member executed. Possible. Documentation mentions 11 SAS killed in Titanic, but does not specify all names. Liberation, April 1945. Allied forces liberated POW camps in Germany. Fowles repatriated to England. Weight at capture, approximately 65 kilograms. Weight at liberation, approximately 52 kilograms. MI9 debriefing. Escape and evasion intelligence interviewed Fowles. The 23 handwritten intelligence reports on the 352nd Division were recovered. Germans had not destroyed them, presented as evidence in war crimes trials. Spring 1945, exact date not located. Awards ceremony. General presented the Military Cross. Official citation read aloud. Key text from citation. For extraordinary initiative and devotion to duty while operating behind enemy lines in Normandy for 6 weeks. Despite mistiming of the operation and failure of American forces to reach his position as planned, Lieutenant Fowles conducted sustained sabotage and intelligence-gathering operations that drew away approximately one enemy division from the American area, directly contributing to the success of D-Day landings. The general did not mention the 200 Ruperts, did not mention the HMV gramophones, did not mention that 6 men armed with cloth dolls held an entire division while 150,000 soldiers landed on 5 beaches. Post-war analysis based on documentation. Effect of Operation Titanic, all 4 sub-operations. 352nd Infantry Division maintained an entire regiment in the Saint-Lô and Marigny area searching for paratroopers during the critical first 3 days, 6 to 9 June. 21st Panzer Division, elements diverted to investigate drops near Malto, Titanic IV. Reserve troops, retained in defensive positions instead of counterattacking beaches. Conservative estimate, 5,000 to 8,000 German soldiers diverted during the first 72 hours. Time gained for Allies, 24 to 48 hours without massive counterattacks on Utah and Omaha. Cost, 11 SAS killed, executed or KIA. 2 RAF crews, Sterlings shot down. 500 Ruperts produced. Estimated operational budget £12,000, 1944 currency. Museums today preserve the story. The D-Day Story Museum in Portsmouth displays 1 original Rupert. Airborne Museum in Sainte-Mère-Église holds replicas and photographs. The Imperial War Museum archives German photographs of captured Ruperts being examined by soldiers. Proof that some dummies were not destroyed by the self-destruct charges. Recognition came slowly. Fowles rarely spoke publicly about Titanic. In a 1982 veterans interview, he said, "The Ruperts did the job they were supposed to do. For the first 90 seconds, they were indistinguishable from real paratroopers. That was enough. The Germans saw parachutes, heard gunfire, moved troops. By the time they realized the deception, it was too late. The beaches were secure." Frederick James Fowles died in 1989, aged 73. The Times of London obituary was 3 paragraphs. It mentioned the Military Cross. It did not mention the Ruperts. Operation Titanic never received the recognition of more spectacular SAS operations. No Hollywood film, no monument, just a small mention in D-Day museums and a burlap doll in Portsmouth. But on the 6th of June 1944, in the first critical hours of the invasion, while 5,000 ships crossed the Channel and 150,000 men prepared to land, 6 SAS men and 200 cloth dolls kept a German division hunting ghosts. The contradiction persisted until the end. 90 centimeters of jute and sand were worth as much as an infantry battalion. Not through strength, through fear, through uncertainty, through the possibility that behind every parachute there might be 1,000 men. Fowles understood this on the 5th of June 1944 when he boarded the Sterling carrying his Sten and the gramophone. Modern war was not won with bullets alone. It was one with shadows, sounds, and dolls that exploded at dawn. If this story restored a forgotten piece of D-Day, hit the like button. Subscribe for more stories of tactical ingenuity that changed battles. Comment where you're watching from. These men deserve to be remembered.